What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Play the Fight Song College Football Show. My, oh my, we made it. Week 0 is upon us. This is the Week 0 college football preview for the 2025 season. It's been a long road. We talked 1,000 different things throughout the offseason leading up to this year and this moment. We are 3 sleeps away, gentlemen, from kickoff of college football, including Iowa State and that. Jake, how we feeling tonight? Ready to talk some real football? You're a real football guy.
I'm a real football guy. And as far as nerves go or anticipation to the game, as the farmer says, hay is in the barn. I think the work has been prepped and we're ready to go. So I'm ready to go. I don't know about you guys. There is no nerves.
Hey, the voices sounded a little bit better. We recorded the show last night. If you weren't in there or tuned into it, check it out on replay on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or under our lives tab on YouTube under win totals. Check it out. Jake sounded like shit, but he sounded better tonight just in time for the Week 0 preview. On the other side of things, JP and Reese are with us. JP rocking the new PTFS sweater for tonight, ready to kick off the 2025 season or what?
Logo. Absolutely. I just got done recording the show with Daniel House of Gopher Gurus, doing a little Minnesota preview. Pretty much handshake agreement. We're going to jump together here when Florida Rosedale comes in a couple months. Great episode. Pumped to have that out. Jake, how many Guinnesses? Yeah. How many Guinnesses will be consumed in the next? Hey.
How many will I consume?
You Irish? Yeah, how many in the next 72 hours?
Well, I'll wait till Saturday. I'm gonna build the.
Do you have Guinness in the fridge ready to go?
No, we'll go and pick some up.
I needed. I should have told you. I wanted a live split the G on the show tonight to celebrate.
Yeah,
Week 0.
That would have been.
Should have done
idea.
it.
You should.
I mean, he should have it in the fridge.
In your day.
I was not aware we were splitting the G tonight, so that's on you guys. I will say, probably this is honestly probably three on Saturday. Like that's a lot. I mean, they don't come in short cans either. They come in the tall cans. Like I'll probably
do the Guinness tweet.
3. Yeah. So if they score the first touchdown, we've decided we're doing a Guinness tweet. So
do the Guinness tweet.
What is the over under?
Go ahead.
On how many Guinness G's have you split in your day? Like, are you gotten pretty good at it? Or you still battling?
I have never split the G. I just drink it straight like
you have a Guinness glass.
Just put it down. No, I don't. Maybe
you're gonna need one of those. We're gonna need one of those, otherwise there's no G.
Pretty much impossible.
Do you think could I get one at like a liquor store?
Probably.
Could I get a Guinness?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Okay. I would say yes.
Never know until you try.
So this is true.
If not, head on down to Wiley. Shout out, no sponsor, but shout out Wiley, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Best bar around.
Wiley's got
on tap. We got Sioux Falls has a couple of Irish bars, actual decent Irish bars. So we'll probably go to the one that's not an Irish bar. She's got an Irish name and it's got 100 TVs. So
everybody's got some of those.
Shave, if there's a pick 6, you got to do. I don't know if you're allowed to say the name of these drinks anymore, but it involves Guinness and a shot glass in the cup. Or if there's like a pick 6, you got to have one of those. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I don't know if it's great on that side of the pond, Reese, but I think we're good on this side of the pond. You know what I'm saying?
Irish car bomb
over there.
Yeah, that way.
We can't say that.
They don't like it over there.
It's got a bad origin story to it. Yeah. It's a bad reason behind it, but it's a delicious drink. I mean, on St. Patty's Day, there is no better drink to have than one of those.
I have a story about those individual drinks. What would you call what does Mother's and Ames classify as? Just like a little, not really divey, but it's not really college bars. Right between that, Jake, give me a little.
Have you been to Thumbs, JP? I'd consider it's right down the street. I'd consider that a dive bar.
Mm-hmm.
Mother's, I'd consider. I don't know what would Mother's be like a little like a pub maybe.
Yeah.
Is it like a college pub?
Yeah, there you go. My first one was at Mother's, and it was way too late in the night to be trying this for the first time. And I'm not a big Guinness drinker anyway.
Nice. Drop
it in there, start going. I get like halfway done, and I go put it down. And I go to the bathroom. I'm like,
what's funny, JP? That's the place I've had my one and only Irish car bomb was Mother's. So we share something in common there.
Maybe can we get the shot per score?
We're not doing Irish car bombs. We're just doing.
I think if you get, I said if you get a pick 6, like if you get some big,
if we get a pick 6, Okay.
Like a
then
fumble,
then
like a
you
fumble,
okay. Yeah, if you might have
some
me on a pick
massive
6.
turnover. You get that. You
Sure.
get that.
Yeah, you might have me there. You might have me convinced
College
there.
football's
Also,
back.
I'm gonna be.
All right.
I'll have one. I'm gonna have one for Jay Bird
He's
on
trying to rein us
Saturday.
in.
All right. I got to rein the team in. We got a lot to cover tonight. We got 4 independents still to preview. We still have to preview our independence team. That's Notre Dame, that's Oregon State, that's Wazoo, and that's UConn. You've been saying something, but go ahead.
How's the Wi-Fi
Trying to keep
for
the
you
show
guys?
on
Like,
track, Jake.
I can hear you guys just fine, but everything's like your video to me is glitchy. Am I glitchy?
Everything's fine.
It's a you thing, buddy. Mine's moving smooth as can
Get
be.
some chicken nuggets.
Yeah, I feel
brother.
fine.
Okay, just checking.
Tell Giefer to turn
Big
off the
show
TV.
tonight.
Big time show, which we got a lot to get to. We're going to preview all of the independents. Then we're going to get to the week 0 schedule. We're previewing all but one of the games. You'll have to stay tuned and see which one we leave out. But of course, we'll have our G5 preview of the week within the show tonight because there's only 4 games that we're previewing in total. But a lot to get to. Let's open it up. Let's start with the independents preview. Let's talk about these teams. I'm going to go to Jake first. Maybe he can get through his Wi-Fi issues and just talk to us solo on camera. But Jake, tell us about one of these independent squads headed into 2025 and what they can expect.
Yeah, let's probably just go the best is first, right? We'll kick off Notre Dame Fighting Irish as we've kind of wrapped up our Power 4 conference previews. It's time to preview one of the biggest brands in all of college football. Marcus Freeman heading into what? Is this year 4 now? Do I have that right? Is it 4? That's what I thought.
4 banger.
Yeah. And this year 4, I think it's a big prove it year for Freeman. Just due from the fact of you're coming off of a national championship appearance and you're replacing a lot of really good production, but you're also backfilling it with a recruiting class that Freeman has proven to be really successful at his time at Notre Dame. So him and Dan Lanning are kind of similar this year. Like, you lost a lot of pieces, but those two recruited at such a high level. It's now time to prove it. Does your recruited talent really show up on the field? And it starts at quarterback. It came down to CJ Carr and Kenny Minchie this week. And we thought Carr was easily going to be the guy moving forward. And then there was a little bit of a battle. And now feels like Carr has been named QB1. I'm interested to see what can happen. I think we are going to see Minchie at some point this year. I think Carr is really good, and I think he's going to have a chance to really excel in this Mike Denbrock offense. Here's the deal. Do they go to Minchie right away if Carr struggles? I tend to believe no, because look how patient Freeman was last year with Riley Leonard. Like, Riley had one of the worst games I'd seen out of a college quarterback in Northern Illinois, and then Purdue, he wasn't great either. He couldn't really throw the ball up until that Miami of Ohio game. So I don't think Freeman will be quick to pull the trigger on Carr, but I definitely see Minchie maybe like being in red zone packages using his athleticism. He's got a really good offensive line in front of him. I think they can be really confident in saying that. Charles Jagasaw, we'll wait and see what happens with him with that ATV injury. I haven't heard if he's coming back at all midseason or what's that looking like, but he's got a decent core of receivers, brings in Virginia transfer Malachi Fields, Faison, Grayhouse are both back. They can finally be, maybe Notre Dame actually has a really good receiving core. I feel like we haven't seen that in quite some time. And then we'll get to it, right? Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, 2 of the best running backs in all of college football. And Jeremiah Love could stand alone as the best running back in college football, and he's finally healthy. Defense-wise, Al Golden heads out to the NFL. Chris Ash comes in to replace him, but Marcus Freeman's going to have his hands on this defense. That is Marcus Freeman's baby. That's what he prides himself on, being an Ohio State defender years and years ago. Gabriel Rubio, and then Boubacar Traore are 2 dudes, and there's a couple of other guys. There's Bryce Young, who's a 5-star sophomore getting into his, like, this defensive line lost a ton with Riley Mills and Howard Cross, but those 3 I just named are some of the key pieces that a lot of people think this could still be the best defensive line in all of college football this year. Then you look at the back end, and you already have some guys like some guys at linebacker that you're really confident in. You have Christian Gray. You have Leonard Moore at the cornerback spots. You bring in Devontae Smith, an Alabama transfer at the nickelback spot. It feels like they're really confident in the back 7. Al Golden was one of the best defensive coordinators in all of college football. So we'll see kind of what Chris Ash throws at them. Maybe it's a more of a 4-2-5 look, but I think there's just so much talent in all of the right spots that I think some of these new faces are going to step in and have a chance to be successful right away.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to talk about on Notre Dame. I mean, it's a team that played in the national title last year, but I think people forget how banged up that team, even in the national title game, was, and the depth that they had and showed on defense last year. You get a few of those retention pieces back off of injury and get them healthy. It's expected for that team to be good again for a reason. The very challenging schedule, so we'll see how it plays out, especially early in the year for the Fighting Irish. JP, what's your thoughts on that squad?
I was kind of surprised to see the CJ Carr news, and I mean, expected it. Then reports kept coming out, and then I had, I'm just listening to people talk about it, and it was like, it's not really that he's outplaying anybody. It's more so like this was expected, and then they spent the money to keep him. And that's what it felt like in some ways. And that's not to say the kid's not talented, because obviously they believe in everything he's doing. But the start of this schedule is Notre Dame's season. Like the back half of it is so much easier than the front half of it. I mean, you go at Miami, then you get an awkward week 2 bye. Awful spot to have a bye. Then you get A&M at home, Purdue, whatever. But then you have to go to Fayetteville. And by that point, Arkansas is probably still feeling really good about themselves. Host Boise State, NC State, USC. You got to get out of the gates quick, and we can't slip up more than twice at all during the year. I think a 10-2 Notre Dame still gets into the playoff, and we'll see our playoff predictions come out this week. But you can't slip twice. Like, we can't lose at Miami and then really beg that we don't, drop one to USC at Arkansas or anything, or A&M. Like, it's a rough start to the schedule.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on the Fighting Irish. It's going to definitely be a team that's consistently throughout the coverage this year, especially early in the year with the matchups they have come week 1. They'll definitely be a part of our previews. Let's move it down the line. Let's go to Reese. Reese, tell us about your independent program and what's in store for them in 2025.
So I got the Washington State Cougars, the future Pac-12 resurgence team. So everybody knows about Arbuckle and Mateer taking off. That's the big news. But, what's this team going to be like this year? Well, you bring in a coach from the FCS level who knows how to win, and Jimmy Rogers. Been at South Dakota State, and he has been successful. 27-3 over the last few years, and has experience when it comes to, there you go, Shafe. Shafe lives in South Dakota, guys. But also brings a couple of coaches with him from the South Dakota State coaching staff. And his OC, Danny Freund, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. That offense was built on having a solid run game. They also had a solid quarterback, and JP will experience him this year as he's going to be quarterback of his team. But the big thing is, like, how do you replace a guy like Mateer? And the short answer is you can't. You just kind of try to have sound fundamental football. And like I said, I talked about the run game was big at South Dakota State, so I think that's what they're going to try to reproduce this year again. And then out wide, you bring in transfers from all over college football. You bring in a familiar face from South Dakota State as well, Angel Johnson in the backfield, who is kind of a big part of that to look for him to be a key part of that offense, especially early, because if they can't, throw the ball, he's going to be a part of it offensively. And then defensively, he also brought Jesse Bobbitt, who comes in where defensively they gave up less than 14 points a game, under 300 yards a game. Granted, it's at the FCS level, but coaches know how to coach this game, whatever level they're at too. So look for that to translate. And then the big thing too is in the middle, you get Keith Brown and Parker McKenna to come back with their linebackers, and as well as bring in Caleb Francie from South Dakota State as well too. So you bring in some pieces defensively that'll kind of help shore some things up right away. And then schedule wise, their over under set at 5.5. You get the over at plus money. Under is pretty heavy juice, minus 205. But you look at their home games, you get Idaho, South Dakota State, or San Diego State, actually, Washington, Oregon State, Toledo, La Tech. And then on the road, North Texas. Brutal. And then you kind of get a 3 tough little stretch here of Colorado State, Ole Miss, and Virginia. I think that's kind of a make or break one. You got to hope you just come through that thing healthy if you want to have a shot at least going over it all. And then at Oregon State, you get them twice, and then JMU as well too. Schedule doesn't favor, I think, a very strong first year for this coaching staff. But I think if you can just get a couple wins here and there just to build some confidence and build something, I think it helps going into year 2.
Yeah, and it's a brand and a team in college football that I would say makes the sport better. Like big games in Pullman when it's raining, and the old Pac-12 were good for the game, like enjoyable to watch. And it's a fun team that competed well. So to get that program back in the new look Pac-12, God knows what it'll look like when they match up with Boise State. We'll just have to wait and see how it happens. But this year, I kind of agree with you, Reese. I didn't see anything on paper that was like, all right, maybe they can punch out at least bowl eligibility with the schedule that they got. So I think you nailed it. Jake, your thoughts on the Cougs?
Yeah, I need to get a Coug shirt for the Washington State Jackrabbits this year. I don't know. I feel like they can be my new de facto team because Coach Rogers is the man. I don't know. The Zevi Eckhouse kid at quarterback. Like, I thought he showed something in that Syracuse bowl game that they can build off of, and it's just going to have to be, can they run the football? Because that's what Rogers wants to do and wants to build upon. But Reese mentioned that schedule. Also, they brought in 16 total South Dakota State dudes, so I'm interested to see how that translates. Toledo, Washington, both at home, but still tough. And then you mentioned at Virginia, at Ole Miss, at James Madison. Then you have Oregon State twice. Like, what a schedule. Like, it's brutal. I think this could be a solid team, but it's a tough schedule.
We'll have to wait and see on Wazoo this year. Let's move down the line. Let's go to my team. I got Oregon State to cover tonight. Oregon State last year, 5-7, worst of the 4 independents in front of us. However, things were kind of rocky the way that they ended with Jonathan Smith, and last year was his first year over at Michigan State. Trent Bray, they promoted within, took the defensive coordinator, one of the all-time great Oregon State Beavers, kept him as the head of that program. And they were competitive last year. They just struggled in some spots immensely, which led to their 7 losses. And they were close, but just didn't have that Oregon State edge that they had under Smith. And I think people forget where that program was at before Jonathan Smith got there. They were 1-11. Jonathan Smith kind of slow built that thing. And towards the end of his tenure, they were kind of back to being, or in a new space for the program overall, beating a team like Oregon in the Civil War. And then they ended up beating Florida at the end of the year, dismantled that team. And then last year, it just kind of fell off. And it really all became because of the conference realignment, being one of the last 2 teams. A lot of them followed Smith over to Michigan State. Their defense got absolutely torn apart, which we'll get into when it came to roster-wise. We'll just see what the fan base thinks. I'd like to get a better idea of what they think for this year, or are they just looking forward to next year where they're back a part of a full-blown conference and have a chance where they're not playing Wazoo twice within a college football season. Super weird and not normal in college football, people, to play a team more than once on your general schedule. We'll start on the offense. Things are looking up a little bit here on paper for me. I like the guys that they brought in. It was transfer madness. You bring in quarterback Malik Murphy over from Duke, dual threat guy with a decent ceiling. He made his mistakes, had some decision-making issues over at Duke, but he has the ability to run, and he's pretty consistent throwing the ball. So if you get the good version of Murphy throughout games, you're going to be better on offense. And then you brought in tight ends Riley Williams from Miami and Jackson Bowers from BYU. So you added a couple of weapons, which you needed on the offensive side of the ball. But the retention really was the biggest story here for Oregon State during the offseason. You retain running back Anthony Hankerson and wideout Trent Walker. It's an offense that I think can be a little bit more consistent throughout the season, which is good in year 2. But they have a transfer-heavy O-line as well with not a ton of notable names or blue-chip guys. We'll just see how that group meshes, because that will open up a lot for Murphy, because he struggled last year with that decision-making, like I said, and it got him into some turnover trouble if he didn't have time in the pocket. So heavy notes on it, whether that O-line works out or not. On the defense, we talked about their struggles last year. They lost everybody from that coaching acquisition and the conference change. Last year, they gave up 31 or more points 7 times. Very out of character for Oregon State under Jonathan Smith. We'll see if Trent Bray can make the adjustments now, because he was a D coordinator beforehand. It was just a weird year because of how depleted that roster was. But you do retain 2 good guys, and edge rusher Nico Taylor, who had 9 tackles for loss last year, and a big, big body in the middle of the defensive line, a 345-pounder, and Jacob Schuster. The unit didn't have any jump off a page transfer, so this is where the question mark lies for me when it comes to Oregon State. Is we talked about the struggles, but outside of those 2 big retention pieces, there's not a ton of guys jumping off the page to be like, yep, it's going to be a massive step forward, and with their schedule and where they're at as a program, they should get back to a bowl. The schedule, I think, could get them there, but I don't really feel great about it with the youth on their defense. It's a lot of inexperience, but the offense, maybe in North Texas fashion, can get them to 6 wins, and they'll play in a bowl game this year. We'll have to see how it goes. But they open up with Cal on the schedule, and then they host Fresno State, and they go on the road at Texas Tech and Oregon. Fellas, if they start 2-0, you're feeling pretty good because you figure you drop the next 2. But if they start 0-2, which is possible with those programs on the schedule, an ACC team, and then Fresno State being the program they're not opposed to beating a Power 4 team or a former Power 4 team in this scenario, you're probably going to be an 0-4. So it could be a hot start, very not a hot start. It's really in between for Oregon State as a program right now. JP, your thoughts on the Beefs?
Yeah, I think Malik Murphy's a thing here that needs to just to be circled, because when you look at how this is set up quarterback wise, leaves Texas, goes to Duke, feels like he was kind of pushed out the door at Duke, lands at Oregon State. They like him, obviously, like they brought him in. They're really happy. It wasn't really a real quarterback battle there or anything. But the question being, was it a Malik Murphy thing or was it a Duke thing and they just wanted to move on? Like, I just want to know, like, what do they really expect out of him? Because he's not a great runner. He doesn't run a ton. And if they don't have the ability to keep him upright, like, what is he really able to do in his, the ability to stay in the pocket?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at the Duke situation, it was like he filled in for Riley Leonard and the production he had through a coaching change. So it was like where they're like, well, this guy is just nowhere near him. So we'll see. I think he's got a higher ceiling than people realize. He's a hell of an athlete, and we'll see if he's effective in this offense. Reese, any thoughts quickly on the Beavs before we go to our last independent team?
I just think you had a good point about the defense being super young and inexperienced, and you go into that schedule early too. Like, that's hard to get adjusted to. If the defense isn't ready right away against those offenses, it's going to be tough sledding to start at least.
Yeah, on the road at Texas Tech and at Oregon is a not very nice thing to do to somebody. But all right, that's Oregon State. Let's go down the line. Let's go to our last team. JP, tell us about the UConn Huskies.
Yeah, UConn sits here with head coach Jim Mora, who is a hire that's really highly regarded out there. With a win total of 7.5, a little bit juice to the under, you can get over 7.5 plus 100. This is one of the higher win totals. I wish I had that stat in front of me. Like, what's the highest win total this program's had in the last 20 years? I think it's got to be this 7.5 right here. Coming off a year where they won 9 ball games. They were 9-4 a season ago. And you look at where this program came from. In 19, they were 2-10, 21, 1-11, 22, 6-7, 23, 3-9. Like, it just consistently has been this growth. Like, there's something about this program that seems a little bit different, and Moore's got it going in the right direction. You're going to start on the offensive side of things. It starts, and it's really centered around a good run game and a good running back room, to be completely honest with you. Cam Edwards is there, Mel Brown, Victor Rosa was there a season ago, and then an Eastern Illinois transfer at MJ Flowers. So there's 4 quality backs in this backfield. Now, I expect Edwards to get a lot of carries. Not really sure where MJ Flowers fits in there, but it's going to get spread out between the 4 of them. 3 offensive line returners, and then they bring in a couple transfers who are experienced to kind of fill some gaps here. If they can get the front 5 good and then just lean on that run game, there's a lot of good things to be there, because the quarterback situation's just been dealing with injury the last couple of years. If you remember when Nick Evers came in there, the expectation was that he'd win that job. Well, he did, and then he got hurt, and then they flipped to Fagano there, and it looks like Fagano's going to be the guy. It's not, I don't think it's officially announced quite yet, but Joe Fagano's going to be the guy under center. Gives you a little bit of a different side than Evers is, moves around a little bit better. Receiver-wise, they like the receiver room as well. You got Skylar Bell and Shamar Porter is there. Those are the 2 big targets. It's mostly the top 2 that are going to get the majority of them, and they're really going to have to hold their own in the pass game. I'm kind of curious on where that kind of fits in, because when Fagano was good, they had a good run game, and the pass game was pretty solid as well. And that's where the strength was. But how much does it change to keep a guy a little more healthy? Is he going to have to stay in the pocket a little bit more and be a little more between the tackles, moving the running backs around and all their carries? Defensively, full of transfers on the defensive line. Like, they went and got guys from all over the country, New Mexico, Virginia, Nebraska, Texas Southern, but limited starts. It's not a ton of experience on these guys. The most of them have less than 10 starts in their career, but feel like it fits well. But the problem defensively on the line is you have to be able to mesh well, understand your assignments, and get that real game rep, because I feel like there's a real difference between practice reps as a defensive lineman or offensive lineman and then getting thrown into the fire a little bit and told, here's where you need to be. This is how it handles and what it affects here on this defense. Linebackers and the DBs have, majority of the returning depth back, and they added some transfers that I think will help, but it's not really adding to the value. I think a lot of the guys that they brought in will be on their 2s and be rotational pieces in a lot of ways. But there's one guy at the linebacker core in Taekwon King, a guy they brought in from Temple that was a first-team All-American Conference a season ago. He's a tackling machine. He's going to be the center of that defense, probably your green dot guy calling out everything. That's a good piece to have. I mean, that starts there. And you look at kind of what UConn's been. The defense has kind of been what carried them most of the years. It wasn't a bad offense, but the defense was usually a ton better. And this year it feels like it's flipped. I'm confident in what the offense is going to be and how they're going to be able to move the football on the ground And the defense, I need to see things filled out at the corner position, at the safety position, and then a little bit on the defensive line. The schedule itself, like, it's not brutal, but it's not a gimme. So that's why I kind of like 7.5 felt like a higher number for me. I mean, you get a Central Connecticut, you should be able to get at Syracuse, at Delaware. I think Syracuse, I think, is going to be better than you think. Obviously, going into the Dome is always a little bit different. Delaware will be better. I have Delaware on one of my season win totals. Took their over. Don't think that's as easy as it's made out to be. Ball State at Buffalo. Guess who's playing quarterback at Buffalo? Mr. Taquan Roberson, former UConn Husky. A little bit of a journeyman at this point. Buffalo's pretty good. A lot of people got him picked to win the MAC. FIU at Boston College, at Rice, UAB, Duke, Air Force, FAU. So you got to get your wins early because I don't like the stretch of Duke, Air Force, FAU to end the year. I'm not super confident that they're going to beat an Air Force team that I'm high on, a Duke team that's got a lot of hype, and then FAU might be better than expected by that time of the year. And if you don't have a good pass defense, things get troublesome. So UConn has a lot of hopes. There's a ton of hype around them. And then in stores, Connecticut, like football is not king. But if you continue to go down this path of bowl game, it's just going to be great for the program and people will continue to buy in.
What an interesting story that would be in college football. An interesting visual for UConn to be good and for their stadium to be like 85% full because it's a basketball school, still is, probably will be for the near future. I mean, they won a national title 2 years ago. What can we talk about when it comes to Jim Mora and what he's done? Like you definitely talked about it, but like we kind of brushed over 2-10, 1-11. It's like been a slow incline, but then it was a massive jump last year. Like 9 football wins for UConn is unheard of, but would be awesome for the sport. Jake, you got any thoughts on this team for the Huskies in 2025?
Yeah, it's a good story, and it's nice to see Jim Mora having success there, but it's just like you take it with a grain of salt, I think, because of the independent thing. It's just like your over-unders at 7.5 and your UConn. That should be a storyline, but it's like JP talked about the schedule. I think it's just a cakewalk. And you look at last year, it was also just kind of a joke. So I don't know. It's a fun story. It's probably winning games is still more fun than going 2-10. Surprise, surprise. But like, why? I understand the Big East thing, but how is this team not able to be like football only in like the American or something? I just feel like people would be more vested if you're not playing for a conference title and you're just playing for the Bahamas Bowl. I feel like that loses fan interest. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. From the outside, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, and it even feels like in their situation with the schedule they have, it would take 12-0 to make the playoff. Like 11-1. Where do you drop one, right?
As a fan, like, what are you getting up for? Duke's coming to town, I guess. Like, cool. UAB, FIU, Ball State.
I mean, let's give them some respect here. Like, look how low they were. Like, look how low this program was. So, like, anything works. So, and it ain't like people are looking for blood when things are poor out there. You know what I mean? Like,
you can take a drive up north to JMA Wireless and watch some real football there.
It's not that. I don't know. I don't think it's worse than a CUSA schedule or some of the Sun Belt schedules.
I saw you put your hand up. Did you have more?
I was about to say, hang on. You're talking about the schedule. You come to Syracuse. Hang on now. Steve Angeli, Fran Brown. Like, you don't just walk in there and get a win, boys. I can go up to my second layer, get some chicken nuggets, and watch that game and have a good time. Let's take it easy. This is a Syracuse football team here. Come on now.
I like the defense of the Qs tonight. All right, that is the Independence preview. Now we've officially previewed 136 teams in college football. I know we announced it a little early, but we forgot the Independents. We had to throw them in before tonight. That is all 136. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Before we start these week 0 previews, let's talk about our great partner over at No Rivals. ShopNoRivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping on your awesome new headwear for this season. Gear up for the games because we're about to talk about them. Indiana, now live on No Rivals, got new designs. They just put that video out today where something's dropping 825. Not even we know about it, and we're official partners. So shout out No Rivals. Check them out today, shopnorivals.com, and use the code PTFS for free shipping. Shopnorivals.com today. All right, gents, let's get it done. Let's talk actual football on the field. Let's start it off with the G5. Let's talk our G5 preview of the week, our game of the week. Granted, we didn't have very many options. We had another one, but this game is actually good. Let's talk Sam Houston. Let's talk Western Kentucky. Jake, take us through this game.
Yeah, I guess the game in Ireland is not the only one in week 0 that has serious conference implications, gentlemen. on the docket this week. This one's going to be fun. First year head coach Phil Longo comes back to Sam Houston, where going to be a weird year, not playing in your home stadium, just trying to revitalize a program that Casey Keeler left on a good note. But we know in college football, like once a coach leaves, you're probably dealing with a completely different team the next year. And I think that's what Longo has on hand. What do we know about this team, though? If it's coached by Phil Longo, this team's going to want to go, go, go. And I'm really interested to see if quarterback Hunter Watson can really fit a part of that offense. I don't really see him as much of the air raid gunslinger type. Flip it to the other side. This other team likes to go, go, go too. Western Kentucky brings in a new quarterback in Maverick McIver. He comes in from Abilene Christian after Caden Veldkamp heads out. This is going to look pretty similar if you're a WKU fan. So two teams that are going to want to throw the ball a ton. I think this is an awesome week 0 game that you definitely should pay attention to and have some involvement in. The one question I do have is Sam Houston's defense, which under Keeler was solid, really good. I mean, that's what led them to 9 wins last year. Their defensive coordinator heads off to Parks' de facto team in North Texas, takes a ton of players with him. So what does this defense look like? Are they going to be able to stop Western Kentucky? That's kind of the question I have for this one.
Well, yeah. Here's another question is Watson, I don't think Watson's been named starter. I looked today and there was an article out yesterday that it was still a 3-man race, like Locke, Mature, and Watson all still locked in this thing.
I would be stunned if Watson doesn't start, because it's a 10-win football team last year, right? This is a returning starter. You don't get that very often.
He split time with somebody last year, didn't he? I don't think he was like the full-time.
The Mature kid came down with him.
Yeah, so that doesn't surprise me hearing that. It's probably again weeks. It's a conference game though, so I don't know if we want to be interchanging quarterbacks in the middle of a conference game. Like if you're playing an FCS school, you might. So that's also something to keep in mind. Like they're going to keep Watson in just because maybe he has the most experience right now.
Mm-hmm. Before I give my brief thoughts, I want to say I do have the Tops hat on. So if you're a Western Kentucky fan tuning into this, check out the No Rivals caps for Western Kentucky. Beautiful designs. It's the Espresso collection. Kentucky on the side. Shout out No Rivals once again. But when I looked at this game, fellas, Western Kentucky's a 10-point favorite, double-digit favorite against a 10-win football team last year. And Sam Houston, you said their defense was really good last year, Jake. It's a top 20 nationally defense, and nobody talked about it. They do lose the coordinator and a bunch of guys, but to me, it was like a reload versus a rebuild situation, and kind of what Western Kentucky was to what they kind of fell off to be last year. I think Hunter Watson, if he does start, I'll throw that in there now, but he's going to be a key to this game because Western Kentucky struggled immensely against the run last year, and Hunter Watson has that ability to do so. So if he can get outside, extend plays, use his feet a little bit more, I think Sam Houston can be productive enough on offense to let their defense kind of like, we don't see a fall off in college football a lot from a top 20 defense to where even if they have a coordinator change, where the scheme was successful for a reason. Like if they reloaded that room just enough, the scheme's going to do what the scheme's going to do. We don't see like a drastic fall off to where now they're going to be in the 96th ranked defense. They may take 10 spots of a drop off, but they're still an establishment and an expectation of defense at Sam Houston State that was established last year. Can they reload it enough to keep this a low scoring game? I think it'll have to be that way for Sam Houston to come away with this one. But I do like the Cats against the number opposed to my hat. JP, thoughts?
I'm intrigued. Like even if you are Phil Longo, like, looking at what your MO is, like you are the ability to move the ball around through the air, spread it out to different receivers and weapons, but you bring back 3 offensive line starters and a running back room that is probably the strength of your team. So is there in week 1, when you're still working through a quarterback battle, the thought that we use the run game a little bit more to get settled in and work?
Crazy idea.
I'm just trying to think.
No, I know.
Everywhere Longo goes, that's what follows him. But I'm like, you're going into a conference game against a team that I picked to be in a CSA title game. Not that's what Longo's thinking, is that this guy randomly picked,
With a fight song, pick Western Kentucky.
Yeah,
put us on
the
a
top of the
YouTube video
conference
somewhere.
Yeah, the top of the conference is like you're playing them week 0, first game of the year. Maybe we lean on the run game a little bit more early in this thing and go that direction, because honestly, neither defense looks real primed to get this thing figured out and keep it low. What's that total at? 60?
61 and a half.
Yeah. I'm kind of to the point where it just feels like Longo's going to find a way. Western's going to continue to have the same pass defense issues, and they're not beefy or able to stop the run up front. Maybe that's just how this thing goes.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Reese, any thoughts on this matchup before we go picks?
I'll just say, as a guy who spent 9 months in Syria, couldn't tell you a whole lot about this game, but I know the name Phil Longo, and that guy likes to score the football. So, yeah, I think Jaybirds had a great point. Plus 10 looks spicy. It's week 0, boys. Do we really know how good any of these teams are going to be? Like, double digits
that's the
is
beauty.
That's a lot of points, dude. Like, so that's, I mean, hint at it later, but I think it's a good pick.
Did we talk much Maverick and McIver? Like, I feel like that's a name that's just the next.
They feel good about him. Western fans feel really good about him, and it might be just kind of a Band-Aid on the Caden Beltcamp move to FAU, but like, he's a hell of a quarterback. His stats jumped off the page at Abilene Christian, but we've seen quarterbacks maybe not do, at least to the extent of what they did in the FCS and the FBS, and JP's hoping for the opposite for his own team this year, but he definitely has a high ceiling guy, especially within Conference USA. God knows what he can do in this offense, but Western Kentucky fans love him. Let's go to picks. Let's give. What do you think against the spread? If you're saving it for later, just let us know. But ATS -10 in favor of Western Kentucky. Over under 60.5 is what I have. That's what we'll base it off of. It's kind of in the middle of everybody's number. Jake, give us your pick first.
Yeah, I'm going to say this a couple of times tonight, I feel like, but I'm laying it with Western Kentucky. I think Sam Houston's got just an identity crisis on their hands this year with the stadium change, nobody back on defense. Like, what does this offense look like with Longo now? Whereas we did mention McIver, like, he's going to step in, and I think this is going to be exactly what Western Kentucky fans are used to. And I don't know what I'm getting with that defense. I think McIver could have a huge day, even with it being his first FBS game on Saturday.
All right, I'll take the other side of it. I think the Sam Houston defense can reload enough to stay competitive. They'll expose an Longo offense. The holes Western Kentucky showed and gave up a lot last year. I hate the double digits in week 0 in a conference game. So give me plus the 10 for Sam Houston. I think they go on the road, make this a hell of a bowl game. And by rule, I'm just going to go under 60.5 because I think if Sam Houston wants to win this football game or at least cover the number, they can't go over. They can't let out Western Kentucky get going. That's what they want to do. So I'm going to go under and Sam Houston plus the 10. JP.
I'll lay them. I just think it's not going to be like a 20-point thing, but I think Western's just got a little too much gas here for the Bearcats with a K.
All right, Reese, you split it, right? You said you're saving for later?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Don't that too?
We can get. There is not that many games we can get. We're gonna have same picks later. Just a heads up.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, that is Western Kentucky and Sam Houston, our G5 game of the week. If you're joining us as a Group of 5 fan, hit the subscribe button because we will do a G5 preview of the week every week this season. So hit the subscribe button and like button for that reason alone. We appreciate you being here. All right, let's move it down the line. Let's go to Fresno State in Kansas. This one's going to be in the new Booth Stadium. I don't know if you guys saw the videos. Looks pretty nice. Looks kind of like a soccer stadium. It's got some different looks. We'll see how the energy is, bringing in a really good Group of 5 program that has a history we just talked about of beating Power 4 programs. Gentlemen, let's break this one down. JP, do it for us.
Yeah, I don't think Kansas is getting a cakewalk to start this thing. You look at what Fresno State was the last couple of years. It's going through a little bit of identity change with the new hire of Entz, and they picked the quarterback. Was that today or yesterday? They go with E.J. Warner. I personally thought they were going to go Conklin, the Sac State transfer. E.J. Warner feels like high. I don't know. Like,
he's got a lot of experience. It's more of an experience thing to him.
What's the phrase I'm looking for? It's like low ceiling, high floor kind of thing. It has a potential to kind of just put himself in bad spots throwing the football. That changes now. This is going to become a team that runs the football, become a little more hard-nosed. The strength of Fresno State's in the running back room. They got 3 of them that are pretty darn subtle in Elijah Gilliam, Bryson Donaldson, and Rayshawn Luke. Like, there's 3 pieces there that I think really helped this team. Issue being the offensive line, right? If you flip it to Kansas, is Kansas confident in what they are defensively and on the defensive line? I'll kind of let Jake talk Kansas a little bit later, but I just read a lot up on Fresno State this year and did some more digging, and they're starting to freshman, like a true freshman left tackle. That's number 1. Circle it. Something to note. You're working in a guy who had turnover problems. You send him on the road week 1 in a new identity and a new scheme. Maybe this fits him. He doesn't feel like he needs to make too many plays. defensively, I think Fresno State is going to get to a spot here down the road where they're better and better. But right now I'm worried about the size of the front seven. Like the defensive line's not overly big. They're not going to continuously cause issues. They have pieces that can be solid, but there are question marks on this defense. And maybe it's going to be middle of the road in the Mountain West, which doesn't really correlate to going on the road and playing somebody that has playmaking ability like a Jalen Daniels and other things. So I am worried about that. I do think Fresno State stays like closer than people think because it is a tougher get. And I don't think people are realizing what Fresno State is. And they're going to come out there with 2 tight ends and kind of change the way Fresno State's been. But it's not an easy week 0 game for Kansas. It's not one I personally would have wanted my team to sign up for. But it's one of my favorite ones of the entire weekend. I know there's only 5, but I mean, I'd put this one easily number 2.
I talked about the history of Fresno State and what they do against Power 4 programs, but I'm not sure I had the belief at the quarterback position as I've had the last couple of years. Because I laid it out, I'm talking about Fresno State quarterbacks like a Jake Haener or even a Mikey Keene and the excitement around that program going into last year before he got banged up. Now you name a starter on August 11th, and then we're going into a team playing their first game in their brand new home stadium that has a returning quarterback back for what I think is his 11th year if he can stay healthy. But I think the questions more lie on the Kansas side. What Jaden Daniels are we going to get? Are we going to get the guy running outside of the pocket, throwing picks like we saw early last year, which put them in a ton of trouble? Or are we going to see the depth step up from a loss in Devin Neal? That's going to be huge for this offense, where Highshaw Jr. gets going, and then they put up 40 points like they did against Colorado, and you just can't stop them. So I think Kansas, if they can play within themselves and up to the expectations and let Daniels maybe not try and do too much at the quarterback position and get into turnover trouble with Fresno State, because that's when they'll beat teams. That's when they go on the road to UCLA and they win football games. If Kansas can stay within themselves, rely on the crowd, use the hype of game 1, I like him with this number. I just don't see enough. It's youth. It's all the things JP just listed off on Fresno State that just doesn't make me feel great. Like this is going to be the team that's going to go in and week 0 steal the show against a Kansas team with all the hype in the world in their new place. So that's where I'm feeling. I think questions lie with Kansas, but I trust them enough because of the experience they have versus what Fresno State has. Jake.
Yeah, it's a tough challenge for Kansas. And we're looking at Fresno State, and JP mentioned the tight ends. Like, what are we getting out of this maybe 12 personnel with the Matt Ends coach team? It's going to be like the hard-nosed North Dakota State Bison teams he had some years ago because he's got Donaldson at running back. He's got depth at the running back position. So expect it to be slow, expect it to be hard-nosed, expect it to be tough, and they're going to try to come out and punch Kansas in the mouth. And it's only appropriate that the Midwest guy and Matt Ents returns and coaches his first FBS football game right in the middle of the Midwest. So Kansas-wise, like, can they pick up where they left off last year? Maybe. Daniels really was clean towards the end of the year, but he still wasn't perfect. Like, he lost that K-State game. It's not like he had an exceptional BYU game. Like, they just got a muff punt, and that's kind of how they won the football game. He's got a bunch of brand new receivers, and I think that's the biggest storyline with this team. I think Highshaw is good enough. I think LaShawn Williams, the Iowa transfer, is good enough. Like, I can expect them to run the football. I can expect a Lance Leipold coached team to run the football and use Daniels' legs. But Daniels wasn't good those first 5 games of the year. I mean, they had Lindenwood to start, but you remember the Mountain West team they had last year? Granted, this team's not UNLV of last year. Let's get that one clear. But still, could be a tough team and a tough challenge for Jalen Daniels. I'm excited to watch him play. Defensively, I'm excited to also see what Kansas has in store because the defensive line comes back, but that is literally it. They have, I think, a couple like an Alabama transfer, a wide receiver. I think they got a defensive end from Texas and then a linebacker from another. Oh, it's the Kamara kid from South Carolina who's got SEC experience. So we'll see if these transfers fit right away. But like, how much? This is also the last thing I'll end with. How much will Kansas show within this week and the next week before they have Mizzou in 3 weeks? Because that's a big deal, and I don't think you can just go chalk and get away with it against this Fresno team. So how much are they going to be able to show?
All right, Race, give us your thoughts.
See, it was Fresno State went to Purdue a couple years ago, I believe. I think week 0, week 1, whatever it was, and got a win too. So, like, yeah, Matt Ents, like, he can take this team on the road and win. Granted, What are they going to have? The quarterback is probably not as good as what they had when they went into Purdue, and granted, Purdue's Purdue, but still, this is a team where this coach also knows how to win at the FCS level. Like, he national champions at North Dakota State. Like, he knows how to win. This is a very competitive team in the Mountain West Conference. I think they can go in there. They can get some stuff done. They talk about too. It's Leipold. Like, what are they going to show early on? Because do they want to give Missouri or anybody else that much of a show? I just think it's all like we talked about this team before, but the double-digit favorites. It's week 0. Like, how much are they going to show? Like, if KU is up, are they going to try to just bury them? Or are they just going to be like, all right, let's just run the ball and try to see what we can do? And Fresno State just is able to kind of keep them around too as well too. So I think Fresno State goes in there. I don't think the door's blown off them like the numbers suggest, but I think they make this game competitive.
All right, let's go to picks. Who has a number that they like? Taking Kansas minus 12.5. Over-under sits at 50.5. Tell us the play, Jake.
Yeah, I hate the number in this game. I think there's something to be played, but I don't know if the number's it. I think Kansas wins, but I do not like covering 12.5 in this one. But we'll see. We will see if Fresno can score points.
I hate that Jake won the ATS board during the regular season, not included in the playoff and stuff last year. And I'm
back to back.
The exact opposite.
By
so,
game
I like Kansas. I think they do enough. I think there's too much national spotlight. Week 0, only 4 games. First game at home. Jalen Daniels, maybe he fixes some of his freshman issues in his 11th year of college football. I think the running game is going to be too much. I like Highshaw a lot. One of the more underrated backs within the Big 12 and the country, in my opinion. But I like Kansas to cover number 12.5 at home in the opening game at New David Booth. JP.
Yeah, probably just going to lean on Fresno State just throughout this whole thing. Like, shout out Lynn Claypool, Drake transfer.
He's a Drake guy.
It's an easy thing for you to
hometown team,
to travel for. I just think it's going to get to a point where it's just too much. Like, they can stay in this for a little bit, but the offensive line will lean on that, that smaller defensive line. And I think Fresno State's going to be great, but it's going to take 6-7 weeks for this team to really find its identity and really get comfortable. So I'd go also under the number, and then I'd take the 12.5 with Kansas.
Reese, finish us up.
Give me the points. Week 0. Give me the points. Give me the Bulldogs.
All right, there it is. Me and Reese again versus JP and Jake. That's back-to-back game for the Week 0 preview. Keep it an interesting little balance. Let us know in the comments who you think wins the game. If you haven't been a part of the show before, if you drop a score prediction for any of the games we preview and you hit it on the nose, we're going to cover a no rivals cap for you on us. So any hat from their website, drop the score predictions in the comments. People, we appreciate you being here. Hit the subscribe button while you're at it. All right, let's go to the next game. Let's talk Hawaii and Stanford on the island. This one's going to be awesome. Hawaii football in Week 0 just pairs well together. New quarterback, new life within that program. Let's break this game down. Jake, do it for us again.
Yeah, I mentioned identity crisis when I was talking about Sam Houston. I just don't know if anybody has a bigger identity crisis right now than Stanford football. I mean, it is like, what do we have on our hands with this football team? And you're going to find out as you go across the pond, and you are an underdog on the island. That is just fascinating from Stanford, from where they've been from the David Shaw years, just 5-6 years ago. Their best wide receiver leaves in the spring. The quarterback position's completely up in the air. Lost 2 guys to the portal, maybe 3. I can't even remember at this point. Lost David Bailey, their defensive end, to Texas Tech, their best defensive player. Like, what does this team have? Like, what does Stanford have going for them? Running backs are fine. I think the Ford kid is fine. They have 2 young running backs who they're going to have to rely on. And exactly what Billy said, because we finally get, I know we got the debut, but this is the true debut of Mike Alejado, the Bishop Gorman recruit from a couple of years ago, the Hawaii native. Sits at 5'10", but this kid is going to be an absolute gunslinger. And I think it's not given for Saturday, fellas. I think Stanford is going to challenge them a little bit. They have a veteran secondary that I think they're going to throw at Hawaii. So it's not going to be easy, but you have
it's a secondary that struggled. I'm just saying, like, it's a secondary that did struggle last year. Veteran, yes, but one that did struggle.
Mm-hmm. We're going to find out. Like, you have Nick Senecal, you have Pofeli Ashlock. If you're as good as you say you are, and your passing attack is going to be, prove it against the Stanford team. Like, show your dominance.
Yes.
And then at the same thing, I think Stanford's defensive line is actually the strength besides losing Bailey over the offseason. So, guys, remember, Hawaii's like one of the worst rushing attacks in all of college football. So, if they can't run the football even a little bit, it's going to put that much pressure, more pressure on Alejado. So, a lot of different factors. I just can't wait for this one. 6:30 Saturday night.
Not our 10:30 usual kickoff
6:30
time for
Central?
Hawaii.
Yep, 6:30 Central. Last one.
So we will see how it goes. But I literally put on my notes to talk about this game, like the Sickos committee. Ha ha ha. Yes. Like we are talking about Hawaii football in a positive fashion. It feels like the 2007, 2008 timeline where like, man, this team, they could sneak up on you because of the quarterback and the hype around it. They haven't had a hype around a kid like this in a long time. And it's world known. It's fandom known if you're a true college football fan that this kid can throw the football, but they nailed it. You nailed it. It's the experience on the Stanford half that they're going to put up a challenge for them. And Stanford's not coming into this game like this is any bit of a Hawaii team that they shouldn't be. Like if you're Stanford and you want to get back to the points where you were winning Rose Bowls against Iowa, like these are the games that have to start turning into blowouts. It can't be competitive with Hawaii in week 0. So they're light years away from it, but it's a chance for Stanford to kind of start heading back in the direction of being competitive, especially within the new conference. You got to stay at the top of that picture because the ACC could use some balance. But excited to watch Hawaii nonetheless. And 6:30, it's going to be weird. It's going to be a completely daytime game for the Rainbow Warriors to open up football. Reese.
Shout out Jacob Schaefer for making sure you go follow the Play the Fight Song TikTok account because he made a video. This is the quarterback you need to know, Micah Alejado.
Thanks, Reese.
You're welcome, buddy. Go give him a follow. But Hawaii, I just think in this game, they're going to open it up and Stanford's going to try to make it ugly. You know, which team is going to be more successful with that? I think it's just going to be who's going to win the football game. Obviously, great insight, Reese. But again, which team is going to be more successful offensively? I think, are you going to be able to open it up or are you going to make it ugly? Because whichever one of those, they're going to try to just wear their team down on both sides of the football, I think. Yes, Jake.
Jake, you got that?
I think it's the Wake Forest transfer, right? Or he's a transfer.
Yep.
Is it Goberson? No, I thought it was the other kid.
They just named him yesterday. Stanford names.
Okay.
Ben. I just want to make sure. Goldbranson, the starting quarterback.
He's not the one from Wake Forest. He's the one from Oregon State, ain't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So they thought it was going to be the Brown kid, but apparently it's Goldbranson. That's why we got 4 people on the show. We got 4 sources, and that's why we're ready to go. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Quarterback news. I would say with this one, Jake took a lot of my just like there's a chance Stanford just leans on him in the run game and they make on the flip side make Hawaii so one-dimensional that the pass defense can kind of just sit back and wait for a couple mistakes from a young quarterback. But I look at Stanford and I'm like, you still have a decent offensive line. You bring some pieces in. The defense itself is obviously like been hit on the star power end of things, but along both fronts, there's a clear disadvantage for Hawaii in some spots.
Yeah, Hawaii is a team that just usually plays in week 0. And we had to preview and play in Delaware State last year. So it's much more interesting. It's actually the closest spread of the weekend. So let's get some picks off the board. Hawaii is a 2.5-point favorite against the ACC Stanford Cardinal. Jake, what play are you taking?
I'm going to lay it with Hawaii. It's just, I don't like Stanford, going across the pond. And I just think this is a bad spot for them and a team that flight. Is this, was their win total like 1.5 or 2.5? I'd have to go back and double check. Like it is low. And I don't know. I know a couple of strengths that I can rely on for Hawaii. Then I don't know what I'm getting out of Stanford at this point, having not watched a game yet.
If you're a college football fan with a pulse for the sport, there is no shot you're taking Stanford in this scenario, just out of the pure watch factor of fandom. Like you're taking Hawaii and cheering for the Bows at home with a new quarterback and a little bit of hype around him for the first time in what feels like forever. So put me on Hawaii.
This one scares me though. Doesn't this one remind you, me and Reese going head to head? You guys remember this one? Was that 2 years ago? Was Vandy an underdog when they went to Hawaii?
He's probably a pick 'em.
And they absolutely just slapped them around. Like that's what this one there's a lot of Hawaii build up. That's the one that scares me a little because I was on Vandy that side. I'm not on Stanford this time.
Not scaring me. Nice try. 2.5 Hawaii. Book it. Lay it.
Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah, I'll take Stanford. Again, I think there's just a shot that they lean on them. They
After
run the football
shit
too
on, I was
well.
like, you have a pulse. JP's like, I don't.
I'm just saying. I think there's a chance they run the ball, really control both line of scrimmages. Couple mistakes. There's going to be a flash in here early where Hawaii's like, oh shit, Stanford might get run out of the building. It's just going to settle in and take a little bit of time. That's where I'm at on this one.
All right, Reese, what do you got?
I'm laying the points. Give me the Rainbow Warriors.
Good man. 3-1 on that one. At least we have the opposite side. JP could be the savior. That's usually the way the ATS board goes. You can follow the ATS boards if you don't remember all these picks on our X weekly and Instagram at Play the Fight Pod. So make sure you hit those accounts so you can see those ATS boards. They may include more games than we preview just on the show. So check those out weekly on those channels. Reese, go ahaid.
I was going to say I had an idea, but never mind. They played them, I think, week 2. I was going to say, do you remember they played? We talked about Vanderbilt. They opened up with Delaware State, and I believe they opened up with an FCS team. Does anybody else remember who that team was a couple years ago?
FCS team
Wait,
is in
are we
Hawaii?
talking about who? Hawaii?
Hawaii,
Yes,
yeah, he's talking about
opened
Hawaii.
up with. I don't know many other podcasts.
Do we have
San Jose State?
No,
No,
was it a Texas school? Eastern
Go ahead,
Washington.
UNI, the Panthers.
Oh, that's
They
right.
opened up with UNI.
I believe so. I could be wrong, but I believe so.
100%.
I covered
They
that.
100% played.
Somebody
UNI.
fact check
came
that.
out there.
David,
I remember
fact check
them
that.
playing, but I don't remember
UNI
it being
came out
the first
there.
game.
Was it week 0? I could be, maybe I'm wrong.
It wasn't week 0.
I don't
It
think
might
so.
have been
I think
week
that was
1.
last year, the year they played Nebraska and Hawaii. But I will say, I do remember last year after one of our buddy Gage's weddings, finding Hawaii on what do they play on? Like Central
Sportsnet.
Sportsnet. There you go. Download the Sportsnet app.
Parks knows right away.
Yeah, I was trying to find that
Got
game
that.
very hard. They charge astronomical prices to watch Hawaii football week to week.
It was free. It was free
just
last
for
year.
the week. It was just for that game.
And they're like,
They wanted
people were like,
$105 for the year to watch Hawaii home games. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
like,
Anyway,
what are you watching? And I'm like,
all right.
football?
That's Hawaii and Stanford. That is 3 of the 4 games we're previewing week 0. Let's take a break. Let's talk a great another partner, new partner, Frost Buddy. Check out Frost Buddy and their universal can coolers for this season. Keep your drinks cold at tailgates all season long with Frost Buddy. Shop Frost Buddy at frostbuddy.com/PTFS. Make sure you use the link or they won't know we sent you. Check out their universal can coolers. Any can fit in this thing, or you can do a drink koozie where you drop a whole McDonald's large pop to start your day in the cooler. Frostbuddy.com/PTFS. We appreciate Frost Buddy for partnering with us here at Play the Fight Song. Okay, let's do it. Let's talk Iowa State. Let's talk Kansas State in Dublin, Ireland, the Aer Lingus Classic. Jake's got that gritty ass smile on his face. I want to go to Reese first. Reese, let's hear your thoughts on this matchup. You can check out Jake's full thoughts on his fan perspective over with JT on our YouTube channel, streaming live right now for this matchup. So he'll be brief. But Reese, let's hear your thoughts.
I mean, what a treat for week 0. I just think it's a shame that it's being played in Ireland. Farmageddon belongs in the Midwest, whether that's in Ames or in Manhattan. But I just think Iowa State offensively, how are you going to replace your weapons out wide? Higgins and Noel were absolute game changers. I think that's an early struggle for Rocco. I think defensively, Kansas State, if they're going to try to figure that out early, yes, Parks, you give me a look.
No, I wasn't giving anybody a look. Sorry. Just giggling.
Whatever.
Parks has shit grin on his face.
Permanent grin on his face. Dude, whatever.
All right, I'm just excited for football, man. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk football.
Either way, those are guys I think that are going to be very hard to replace for Brock. He was a younger quarterback, and what better way to build confidence than have guys like that you could throw to? So I think if you can replace those guys early on, I think offensively, Iowa State's going to help out a bunch because, again, if you're completing passes early, you're successful with that. That's going to help build stuff along the way and also just going to open up the run game as well, too. And then I think K-State just tries to make it ugly. Avery Johnson, drafted for my fantasy league this year, no big deal. Hopefully he has a big day for me, but I just think offensively they're going to try to run the ball, make the Iowa State build the box a bit more so they can get some shots over top. But again, I just think this is going to be a kind of a ground and pound and ugly style game to start off because, again, it's week 0. It's hard to know, but this is a huge, huge game when it comes to the conference. Like Kansas State's up there and Iowa State's kind of towards the middle of the pack this year when it comes to who's going to win that conference. But I think this game's going to have huge implications, for week 0. So, what a treat we get.
I went back and I was watching Farmageddon from last season. It's usually a game played towards the end of the year, so it's usually a little bit different elements. A couple of years ago, they played Manhattan. There was like 5 inches of snow on the ground, and there were scores like every other play. But Iowa State benefits from an Avery Johnson who makes some Avery Johnson like freshman level mistakes. Like last year, they had a safety late in the game, just taking an intentional grounding in the end zone that really were a couple of important points. But this game's always filled with explosive plays, big plays, throws down the field. There were a ton of them last year, long runs 2 years ago. So the over-under only being at 49.5 is pretty intriguing to me because when I look at it on paper, it's an Iowa State team that struggled a little bit against the run last year at times and a K-State rushing attack that was extremely good. Over 7 yards a carry. Dylan Edwards is back. Avery Johnson, we know his ability to use his legs. But on the flip side, you have a K-State secondary who's revamped and replugged. You're going to have a lot of new faces on that unit. Can Rocco find the new Knoll? Can he find the new Higgins, like Reese mentioned? Because if he can, I think Iowa State can take advantage of that against that Kansas State defense. But we'll see if Iowa State can do enough against the run with what they brought in, a couple of second-year bumps for some players that played consistently as a freshman, like Bo Goodwin. I'm excited for it. I really don't know what will happen. My fair warning to Jake is be careful. Things happen very weirdly in Ireland. We got Georgia Tech beating a top 10 team last year. We got the Scott Frost.
We're not gonna onside kick
don't
it.
onside kick. You get up by 2 scores. Don't do that. That's my best advice. But I just, for some reason, I trust more what I've seen from Iowa State as a football team to go on a road in a weird, tough spot and win a football game that's important for their conference season. Double-digit win team last year. It returns their quarterback. I feel better about them, and I think Avery Johnson's still going to make his mistakes because that's just what he's shown us through his college career. So I like the clones off the initial feel of it. JP.
Yeah, I would say if you're Iowa State, you feel really good about the linebacker core in the secondary. So you're not really too worried about Kansas State getting their footing through the air. Decent amount of tight ends that are solid. The receiver room is kind of the question mark on Kansas State and what they're doing. But I think that run game aspect is a big deal because, yes, Dom Lawrence comes back for Iowa State, and there's some pieces there on the defensive line they like, but the strength of it's on the linebacker unit. And can you find a way to get to the second level and really keep them off Avery and make that running game go? On the flip side, it's the same thing. Iowa State's got a pretty good offensive line that they're confident in. Kansas State's got a really good defensive line. It's got to simply be, I know you, you know me. It's hat on a hat stuff. Like it cannot come down to mistakes for either one of these teams. Rocco made the same amount of mistakes Avery Johnson made last year. I think Rocco didn't have the hype, so they weren't as highlighted in a lot of spots. But Rocco also saved Iowa State multiple times last year down the stretch in games. Avery hasn't shown that ability, but I don't think it's fair to say, well, what I saw for him last year is what I'm getting out of him this year. We're not. I can tell you this right now, that this is a game I wish was played in November and not week 0 in Ireland, because there are teams, this team, in Iowa State and this team in Kansas State, it's going to be completely different come November, in full honesty. And I just think that there is a little more get up and go about what Kleiman had to deal with last year in Ames. Like, it was like, what the hell did I just watch, and how did that just happen kind of thing. Campbell's going to be ready to go. Beck's a great quarterback. I think that Sowell and that receiver unit going to need a couple weeks maybe to get things going, but I still feel confident in them. It's a coin flip. Why this is even 3 is astonishing to me. I thought this was going to be a straight pick.
Up to 4, I saw.
Did it really? I had this more so at a pick. But yeah, I might be more confident in what Rocco does. I've been consistently saying that he's higher up in the Big 12 rankings than people give him credit for as a quarterback, but I do think Kansas State has something in store here. Just the running game and just what can happen, because Iowa State doesn't have a bad running game, but I just need to see a game breaker in the backfield, and I need to see things kind of go that direction. It's like flip a coin for me right now, and you can tell me who won, and I wouldn't be surprised either way.
All right, Jake, give us a spark note to your thoughts. They can find the full breakdown and thoughts on the Iowa State Fan Perspective live on our channel right now. But I guess I want to start off with the question, because consistently throughout preview season, and we're talking about teams in the preseason, you talk about how you don't like the feeling you get from teams that play in a lot of one-score games and win, and that's how they get to 10 wins. Iowa State fits that narrative last year. Does that make you a little worried going into 2025, and how does it make you feel going into this matchup here?
A little bit, but if it came down to a one-score game on Saturday, I feel like I trust Iowa State right now more than I do with Kansas State. So I'll say that. Again, I'll say it. I think the hay's in the barn. I think Matt Campbell has been preparing like psychologically, sleep doctor. He's done it all with like this whole thing, and he studied it. And they're on a plane right now as we speak, and he's probably had them sleeping as soon as he got on the plane. Like he has been religious about how to treat themselves during this trip, and then how can they respond back. Like he's met with the Patriots, he's met with the Eagles and Sirianni. Like I just think maybe he's gone overboard. I don't know, but I feel like he's going to have his guys well prepared. And I talked about this with Justin. For a team that's coming off an 11 win season, you bring back your quarterback, you bring back a lot of guys. I know you lose the receivers. We've heard it a million times. This team continues to get underestimated. And I think that is at best what Matt Campbell thrives on. Matt Campbell loves to be the underdog in this one. And I haven't heard a big national media podcast that hasn't picked Kansas State in this one. So that has me also just absolutely excited. Us, I guess, sorry, big podcast shows. And then us, we're different, just like always. I love them. I love it in this situation. Campbell's won 4 out of the last 5. In the 1 year that he didn't, they were 1 drop pass away. It was Campbell's worst team versus Kleiman's best team, and they won a Big 12 title. And it took a drop pass from losing that one at home. I think Campbell has this one by the stranglehold. Justin, my co-host on the Iowa State Fan Perspective, kind of made a good point. It reminds us a little bit of the opposite side of the Iowa rivalry. It feels like Kansas State has everything to lose in this one. Like this feels like Iowa State versus Iowa in 2021 a little bit, where like 2 ranked opponents, but all the pressure's on Kansas State. All the pressure was on Iowa State that weekend against Iowa in 2021. You are pretty much unanimously picked to get to the Big 12 title. You can't slip up here. Everybody talks about Avery Johnson this, Avery Johnson that. And I know the talent's there, but it's like, it feels like Iowa State doesn't have the pressure, and it's just be the underdog, play with that chip on your shoulder. And I think that's what this Iowa State team when they play at their best. So
I'll kick it off with picks. I want to go bold prediction style first. I think there's going to be a play in this game on the Iowa State side that's going to be a huge difference maker, and it's going to come via the special teams. I think Iowa State was really good on special teams last year and didn't get enough credit. They won a couple of ball games with plays on it, but they took advantage of some field position against this K-State team last year from that game. So I think there's going to be a block punt, something crazy in the special teams game that helps Iowa State win. Obviously cover the number, take them on the money line. I like the Clones to win outright in Ireland this weekend. JP.
What's this total at 50?
49.5.
So I'd probably go under that anyway. I'll take Kansas State, but I'm not confident in that whatsoever. Like, I just think
Iowa Wildcat.
Yeah.
The Iowa Wildcat.
I like it. I get it.
There's something that needs to happen, and maybe it is just like I think it's more so like a climb and like get this thing off my back. I gotta go win a football game early. Like I think that has been more quiet than advertised. And I don't think Kansas State's getting that much love either. Like in this game, they are getting the noise, but I don't think nationally they are the same way.
It does feel like it's starting to get to the point where it feels like that situation where it's like just Campbell has Kleiman's number. So it is a big monkey to get off his back. 100%. All right, Reese, give us your pick.
Schaefer said that Campbell figured out how to teach a team how to take naps, so I'm fired up. Give me Iowa State to cover this one too.
Sleep research, all on the sleep research.
Reese loves naps. Reese is a big nap.
They've figured out how to nap. Come on, Cyclones, fire me up, guys.
All right, that is Iowa State and Kansas State. Jake, do you want to reveal your pick, or do you want to just have them go watch the Iowa State?
Well, that too, but we can go to the next topic. I'll save for the next one.
Oh, okay.
All right, we'll see what he's got. Dog's dog. Let's go to our underdog of the week. If you're new to the show, first season ever tuning in, this is a weekly segment we do. It's our underdog of the week. Could be across the entire board. Obviously, the week 0 board is much shorter than normal. So let's give us your dog from the 4 games, maybe that 5th game if you want to throw it in. Tell us your pick, Jake. Let's go to you first.
Yeah, you take this one and you can run it to the counter. Clones by 1 billion. Dog's dog, money line. Take it. See you in Ireland.
That is also mine. I will share it. Obviously, I just picked him on the money line. I feel the best about it. It's obviously a close spread, not that bold of a play. I don't feel great about Sam Houston, even though I took them against the number. So give me the Clones on the road in Ireland. Special teams being the difference maker. Reese.
Give me Sam Houston in this one. Like I said,
Nice.
double digits early on. I'll take Sam Houston.
I like that pick. JP.
Stanford. That's not a lot, but
Ew.
It doesn't feel good wearing it, but
it's Hawaii, man. It's Hawaii. Great place to travel. If you ever get the chance, do it. All right. That's the dog's dog. Let's go to the best bet of the week 0. Could be the same pick. Very short board. We apologize for it. Nothing we can do. Week 0, just short board. What's your best bet of the week? What do you feel the best about? Let's go backwards. JP, you first.
Oh, I got to get this number back up. Give me like 2 seconds here.
You can go over here.
I had it.
Go ahead.
Which one?
And I lost it.
It's not the
I
best
wanted
way.
that.
I can't find it. All right, Reese. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, JP.
No, I'll take the under in that Kansas Fresno State game. I think Kansas gets up, they stay on the ground, keep that thing going, and we know Fresno State's going to stay that direction. So under 50.5 is what I'm seeing at an unnamed sports book. That has nothing to do with us.
All right, let's go to Reese.
I'm going to take the under in the K-State Iowa State game. 49.5. You talked about the number 4. I think it's going to be ugly. Give me the under in that one.
I have no pull, obviously, in Iowa State games, but I love the over. I love it. I think it gets there. I really do. But to each their own, Reese. We respect plays around here. Like Kansas, Fresno State under with JP. That's a good one. I'll just take the over in Sam Houston, Western Kentucky. I don't see a scenario where Phil Longo slows it down even a little bit. So I think they're both gonna run it up, and whether that's disaster, turnovers, quick turnarounds, quick drives here and there, I don't know. But I think they get there. You got to take a couple of overs in your week 0, or just what are you doing?
I really see the K-State Iowa State game as like a 31-24, 34-24 around that range. So I like the over. I think the explosive plays are going to go under the radar for both teams. Iowa State threw the ball downfield well. I think they're going to have an opportunity to do it again this weekend. And K-State threw the ball well against Iowa State last year. Avery Johnson had some nice throws. Like, this game has always been filled with explosive plays, like I said in my breakdown. So I think nothing's going to change over the pond. So I like over 49.5 that game. Sorry, Reese, but we'll see who comes out on top. One of us has got to win. It's either going over or under, baby. So we're right somehow on this show.
Some would say it's either going over or under. Some would say,
yeah,
one of the two.
Unless they score exactly 49.5 points, then we're screwed. All right, that is the entire week 0 preview. That is the games we are going to cover. Check out our G5 preview of the week. We'll clip that one, put it out on our page. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, shop our great partner over at No Rivals, and use the code PTFS. Shop Frost Buddy Universal Can Cooler at frostbuddy.com/PTFS. Make sure you use that link. We love you. We'll see you next week for a full slated week 1 preview. It's going to be busy, busy, busy. Cheers, Jake. Good luck to your Clones. Let's kick off a great season. We love you. We'll see you next week. Jake, take it away.
I appreciate y'all. Go Cyclones. Let's play it.